So let's stand. And this is one thing that both the Feldenkrais, the standing assessment, but both Feldenkrais and the Thomas Hanna method are really big on. We can't change what we're not aware of because it doesn't exist. It's just an abstract. So as you stand, just do that little check-in. Are you forward-leaning today? Have you been doing a lot of this? Or are you feeling more tense, maybe in the upper back, low back, neck? Where's the weight on your feet? Are they front or back? Are they more on one leg than the other? And maybe signifying some kind of unevenness from side to side, which in truth, we all do have. And the other thing that I would like for you to observe is just turning around, looking to a spot behind you, sort of mark an area. What is an easy turn? There's no force, no force. So, hey Roberta, welcome. And that's just an easy, you're driving down the road, you need to look over your shoulder and see what's coming up behind you. Is that easy, or is there a restriction somewhere? So just take a little assessment of your rotation, because all the parts need to dance together for it to be an easy piece of equipment to use our bodies. With that rotation information, now let us come onto the mat. And as you come onto your back, stretch out your legs and do a little stick figure assessment. How much of your body is right now resting on the mat? And the numbers that's often used is, where are you between 20 and 80%? Now 20%, you are pretty tense. 80%, you're pretty relaxed. We're never going to get to 100 because that would just be a puddle. But notice the areas. How much of your thighs rests on the floor? How does the sacrum rest? Does it list to one side? Is one of your butt cheeks flatter than the other? How much or how tipped are you in the pelvis, meaning are you closer towards the tailbone than the top of the sacrum? As if you're being pulled up, so that tells us something about the hip flexors. How much of the low back lifts up? Can you feel your lower ribs on the floor? What about the shoulder blades? Does one poke a little bit more than the other? And then the head. Are you turning your head to one side? Or does the nose track with the sternum, the breastbone, and the belly button? If the chin pulls away from the chest, do slide a blanket or pillow under your head so that you can orient the chin more down. Sometimes it can be enough just to grab hold of the skull and then tilt it forward so that the chin, we can orient this way. Sometimes it's just a habit rather than a postural imbalance that some scar us. So we'll start as we did on Monday, and I will heed your advice, Roberta. I'll slow it down with our little stick figure outline. So as you recline, Straight legs if it's available, but if that's painful, go ahead and bend up your knees. That's okay. So whether it's somatic or Feldenkrais, never intentionally put yourself in a position of pain. Examine other ways that I can minimize my pain so that we teach the body to move with ease. Imagine a marble or a bubble, something that's smooth in your right big toe. And now allow that marble or bubble to begin to internally just roll down through your foot, through the heel, up through your lower leg, through your knee, through the thigh, to the hip joint, and then traveling from the hip to the sacrum, negotiating your way through the pelvis, and from the sacrum, rolling up through each vertebrae, through the spine, the lumbar, the thoracic, the neck, right up to the skull. And then travel to the top of the skull. In the reverse direction. Traveling down through the skull to the neck, vertebra by vertebra, traveling down through the entire spine. Arriving at the sacrum. Negotiating the connection to your right hip. And then traveling down through the right thigh, letting your mind follow that little marble, ball or bubble through the knee, down through the lower leg, through the ankle, through the foot, back to the big toe. You're breathing in and out, and observe the right side of your body and the left side of your body. Did it change your perception? Does it feel different in any way? Bigger, warmer, heavier? There is no right or wrong answer. This is an exercise to facilitate awareness and how we link. So place your ball in your left big toe and begin the journey here also, rolling the ball down through your foot. The heel, up the ankle, through the lower leg. Do you lose connection with the ball at some point as you go through the knee, the thigh, the hip? Through the pelvis, to the sacrum, and then rolling it up, vertebra by vertebra through the lumbar spine, the thoracic spine, and the neck, right up to the skull. Rolling it up to the very top. And reversing. Rolling it back now to the cervical spine, the neck. Traveling down the 7 vertebrae of the neck. And then the 12 of the thoracic spine, where the ribs are attached. The 5 lumbar vertebrae to the sacrum. Then traveling over to the left hip joint. Down through the left leg. Letting it float or roll down to the knee. Through the lower leg. Ankle. Heel. Through the foot. To the big toe. Breathing in and out. Again, awareness, sensing. So the interoception, you are feeling with your body the sensations present. Heavy, light, warm, cold, expansion, contraction. A lot of words that can help us describe to facilitate this awareness. Now let's connect the arms as we did the legs. So from the middle right finger, place your bubble here and roll it down through the middle finger. Through the palm, the wrist, up through the lower arm, elbow, upper arm, to your right shoulder. And then negotiate from the right shoulder the connection to your spine. And then traveling up from wherever you connected. Was it the upper thoracic? Was it the neck? All the way to the skull, to the top of the skull, rolling back down through the skull, through the neck, negotiating again, traveling out to your right shoulder joint, down through the arm, the elbow, lower arm, wrist, palm, right finger to the very tip. And just toggle your awareness between your right arm and your left arm. Right shoulder, left shoulder. And then move the ball to the middle finger of your left hand. And begin to slide or roll to an image is the easiest for you. Down through the finger, through the palm, the wrist, up through the lower arm, the elbow, the upper arm, the left shoulder, from the shoulder to the spine. How does it connect on this side? And then up through each vertebrae. To the skull. To the very top of the skull. How do you get there? Rolling it back down to the cervical spine. The neck. Connecting to your left shoulder. Down through the upper arm. Upper arm. Through the elbow. Through the forearm. And the wrist. Palm. Middle finger to the tip. And each limb we were tracing the loop of the motor nerves and the sensory nerve. Sensory nerve travels from the limb to the brain, and then the motor nerves from the brain to the limb. Did you notice if it was easier to travel inward or outward? It's reconnecting the loop from the motor cortex, sending a message for an action, and then the feedback loop And if there's a crinkle in the network, when it gets scrambled, our mobility begins to change. Maybe we don't notice it initially, we just do the compensatory movement patterns. The neighbors join in, but eventually we run out of neighbors. So resetting this loop is what allows us access to our full mobility. Now let's bend out the knees. And we'll roll over onto the right side. And as you come onto the right side, you can support your head with an arm. Not with an arm, sorry, with a blanket, because your right arm is going to be out in front. And you want enough blanket real estate behind your head that you can roll it. You're going to place your left palm right across your forehead. That, oh dear. And now the head is going to be completely passive, and that's challenging. But the hand, the left arm, just gently pulls on the head to twist the neck. And then draw it back. Start with a movement as small as you can. How much neck rotation is available? Notice when you begin to have to force the movement. Let it be easy. I'll share the other instruction. I believe I did it on Monday too. Let it be joyful. Now I gotta say, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but easy, I understand. It's going back and forth, turning the head, the weight of the arm draws it back and leads us back home. Noticing how soon does your upper back begin to help, or does it? Does the upper back just stay stuck? And next time you come back to center, just let that go. And relax your right arm. Sorry, that'd be your left arm, wouldn't it? Down the floor. Now with your knees at 90 degrees, you're just going to slide the left hip back. So the knees are going to shear. And then let it slide back to where you started. Sliding back, knees are shearing, and back. How does this movement feel? Is it easy? If it's painful, remember, same instructions always. Back off, back off, back off. Sometimes to the point of not moving physically. You initiate, but you don't execute. That still works, that motor sensory neuron loop, but it doesn't stress the body. Pain causes contraction, restriction, aversion. We are moving against something, we're pushing, rather than letting it be easy. So find that place where, well, you could just do this all day long. I promise you I won't make you. And then as you come back to center, just pause. Take your hand on the head again. And now let's initiate with the head rolling and then let your hips slide back. What does that do? Does that provide you with a little bit more rotation? Each part of the spine, the lumbar, thoracic, and cervical, spit it out, right? They have their own range of mobility. The lumbar, the least, we only have about 12 or 13 degrees of rotation. But when we slide the hip, we got access to a lot more. The thoracic spine has somewhere in the neighborhood of between 35 and 40, at least in theory. But when we add the lumbar to that, we get more. The cervical spine, the neck, has the most rotation, somewhere around 60-ish. But again, when we add all three, we may be getting close to 90 degrees rotation. I take that back. That would be 90, wouldn't it? But you can almost look all the way behind you, maybe. So that would actually be 180-ish. So the sum of the parts, the total is greater than the sum of the parts. There it is. I still practice that one. So that's why we want to both explore what's available without consolidation and what happens when we consolidate. As you come back to center, just let that go. And then with as little effort as possible, let's come onto the back again. And pause. Shine the light of awareness, toggling from right side to left side, as a whole, as in parts. What is really lit up and what's kind of dark? And then bend up the knees and roll to the other side. I'm going to turn around so I can keep an eye on you. Knees 90-90. And we'll take the right palm to the forehead again. Start easy. Make sure that you're very comfortable, that nothing is irritated. Because if you're already irritated when you start out, what does that mean? We're teaching our body to always be uncomfortable. The weight of the hand, twist. How does this side feel compared to the first side? I fairly often get the comment when doing a partial assessment, oh, I can't turn my head. Like, what? When did you stop turning your head? I don't know. It just happens. If we don't pay attention, if we are not aware. Next time you come up, let's let that go. And just relax the arm down in an easy way. And then slide the right hip back. And forward. How does this feel? Is it easy? Is it joyful? I love studying with lots of different teachers. It gives me a big bag to share with you. And everybody uses different language. So it prevents, I like to think, me from becoming stale in my language, in my teaching, because they keep me questioning. What are we doing? Is it beneficial? How does it feel? So I don't share anything that I haven't taken through the test track first. Sometimes I'll share things that it didn't make any difference in my body. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. It just means that I'm either not ready to feel it, or at this point in time, it wasn't a benefit to me. Now let's take the hand back on the forehead. And we begin again with the head. Back and forth. Easy and enjoyable. And then begin to add the hip slide in. How does it feel on this side? This is my quote-unquote tighter side. I know this is tighter. So there comes a place where there seems to be the oppositional force. Okay, instead of swimming with the stream, I'm beginning to swim against. With the current, I begin to swim against the current. So letting that be my awareness. What is causing that? Easy, gentle effort, no strain. The head originates, the thoracic spine, and then the hip. Or is that different in your body? Is it an easy transition? As you come up to center, after this or the next one, if you want one more, just find your way onto your back again. Notice this place. If you draw a chalk outline of your body, right side, left side, do they look the same? Color, temperature, sensation from the floor, whatever sensation you are registering, that is the correct sensation. That's what the sensory nerves give us, information about our body in space. Then we're going to go back to the left side. So laying on the left side again. So we are not going back to laying on the right side where we started. So you're just going to return to the left where we just were. And we're going to incorporate a little bit more hip mobility. And in this one here, we'll just do a little practice one first. As you lift, we were doing the knee sharing, but what happened if you share the hip back and let the knee lift up and then let it come down? So there's a shearing back and then a lifting. So you're standing the knee up, letting the foot maybe come to stand flat on the floor. So more lower limb involvement. If this is uncomfortable for whatever reason, then continue doing the hip shearing, the hip shift, but don't add the leg. Let's add the hand again to the forehead. Initiate from the head, rolling, and then take it down, maybe with the knee lift, maybe not. Twisting open and returning. Just back and forth. So easy. You could do this for hours. Because there's no effort, no real expenditure, no pushing, no force. Does it provide more rotation? Is it a smooth integration? And as you return, maybe this one or after the next, find your way again onto your back. And pause. So the awareness from this last integration, what did that do? What's the chalk outline? What are the sensations? And then now let's return to the right side again. And we'll go right into it. So this is where the Feldenkrais is often different from the Thomas Hanna. We do everything methodically, evenly on both sides, but in Feldenkrais, it's like, no, your body already got this information. So we can now put the whole bit together on the other side. So we'll start again, head, shoulder, leg, lift, if it's available. If it feels better on your hip to shear but not stand up, the left knee, then notice and then be kind, accommodate where your body is today. Closing your eyes as you move may be really helpful, as always, as that takes out the visual distraction. When do you begin swimming against the current on this side? That subtle switch, at that point, the body now begins to anchor in. It begins to tense, contract. So we keep brushing up against it, but we don't trespass as best as we know. But when we are somewhat divorced from a body part, we don't always know when we begin to trespass, when we begin to exert effort and strain to complete a movement. It is easy. Does it flow? Head, upper back, lower back, hip, knee, in an easy flow? Or is there choppiness, putting it all together? Hesitation? And then after the next one, just let it go, rolling onto your back again. Feel, sense, what information is your body sharing about you, your physical sensations. And sometimes these descriptions are funny. It can be a color. It can be a shape. It can be temperature. It can be hard or soft, fuzziness, woolliness, whatever it is. It's information. And then with as little effort as possible, just roll over onto one side and sit up. So as you sit up, you're going to swing the legs to the right. Which would be merman pose, but they don't use that language in Feldenkrais, but your left foot is on top of the right thigh, and your left hand is just to the side, but you're not overly weighting your left hand. Take your right hand to your left shoulder, and then turn. Turn, look behind, and come back. Just turn everything. It is your eyes, your head, shoulders, elbows, everything travels around. And then as you come back to center, just pause. Just pause. We're going to take these little interludes for the body to both know when it's moving and when it's not moving. And now let's place the hand up again. So now we're going to turn all the way into the twist again. But this time you're just going to turn the head back and forth, but the trunk is staying in the twist. So the head turn back and forth. How does that feel like? And then next time you're going to come all the way back. Rest again. Anything getting irritated? So remind yourself to back up your wrist. So Janet, if you lean up, just sit up a little taller so you're not weight bearing so much on the wrist. Yes, so, and that is one of the instructions, not being super heavy on that hand. Thank you for that comment. So we go back in again. So this time, we're going to go all the way into the twist. And now just the eyes go from side to side. Back and forth. How does that feel? And we return all the way back. Were there any neck trembling? I asked the same on Monday. We can get really locked into not moving our eyes. So we have a very exquisite set of muscles that can do all kinds of fancy stuff with our eyes, but we stop using them. And so that limits our rotation from that point. So now we're going to repeat number one. But this time, you're going to be doing it with your eyes closed. So you're just going to go in and out. Everything travels in and out. But closing your eyes, back and forth. Back and forth. Now, next time you draw into the twist, open your eyes and see, maybe have you turned a little further? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And then our last one for this, incorporating the hip too. You can do that again with your eyes open or closed. Go as far as little, but as you move into the twist, how much hip movement are you bringing with you? We're just going to do this for a few rotations. You can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, but really sense the hip drawing in and out, in and out. And then let's let go. And we come to center. Just take the legs out in front. Notice your body here as you sit. If one side sit lower, higher. Again, what are the sensations? So a lot of where this is so different. Let's do the other side. It's not about do 5, do 10, it's the awareness is the key. So we started and we just went with all of it. Eyes, head, neck, shoulders, elbows. How does this side feel? And as you come back to center, just relax your shoulder, arm down. Pause, breathe. What are you noticing? And it's just whatever it is. It's whatever it is. Is it an emotion or is it a sensation? Now we're going to repeat this. Now turn again, look behind you, mark a spot, and just turn the head now. Just turn the head. And come back to center, pausing. Sensations, awareness. I don't like this side, I like this side, I feel heat, I don't feel heat. So much information. But when we become divorced from these sensations of our bodies and we just become these floating, thinking heads, we don't catch this information from early on. Now, eyes. So drawing into the twist again. And now just the eyes moves from side to side. Little sweeping eyes. Or big sweeping eyes. And then slowly return back to center. And so now we're going to do it with the eyes closed. Hand on the shoulder. Close your eyes. And twist. Back and forth. What's moving? How does it feel? The internal sensations of the twist. 40% of our brain is dedicated to vision. So that becomes sometimes a little bit of a handicap. Now, next time you're in the twist, as far as it's comfortable, opening your eyes, and check the spot that you saw before. And return back to neutral. Relax, rest, reassess. And then we added hip movement. Going in. Now just take the hip with you. You can close your eyes if that helps you feel better. But pay especially attention to the left hip following you into the twist. This is when we were on the side. So in many ways, the same movement. Back and forth. So reestablishing rotation, mobility of the spine helps establish mobility of the neck, which of course is part of the spine. And then let's come back to center and pause. That was very easy, wasn't it? Let's bring the legs out. You sit evenly now. Now, can I buy just 4 more minutes? Because there's another movement that comes right after this. We didn't do it Monday, but I would like you for your final assessment to have it. So in this one here, you'll take the legs back to the right. You have the hand again on the side, but this time take the hand overhead, because what we're getting is not just rotation, we're getting the lateral flexion. So side bending. Back and forth. So another movement that is really important for our neck mobility. The hand draws the head in, but then the head kind of takes over to go back. So it is just spinal flexion. I say just, there ain't nothing just about it. And then as you come back, take the hands down, pause. And we'll take the legs out in front and switch. Taking your right arm up. And again, hand guides, head pulls back, hand guides in. Let the spine follow the whole movement so that we get this sideway mobility. Alternating, giving ourselves scoliosis on one side or the other. So notice, if this is harder on one side than the other. And then let's let go. Now, let's stand up. And then with the feet about hip width apart. So we started with just a rotational testing. So just turn, look behind you. Notice, has it changed? Notice your feet, your legs, hip integration into this movement. So next time you need to look over your head, over your shoulder, not over your head, behind you. Did that become a little easier? Let's take the feet close together. We'll close now with our standing poses. Take the arms out and up, reaching up. Interlace the fingers, pressing up. Standing up, ground down through the legs. Now we're consolidating everything. And we'll take the arms forward so we can switch the clasp of the fingers. Press the palms forward again. And then ground through the heels. Extending up, everything consolidates. And relax the arms down. And we've done it again. So I will stop the recording, ask you to unmute yourself.